Hello, hi. When I saw Erin Brockovich, I was working for the Department of Chemical Engineering and Applied Chemistry in the University of Toronto as a research associate. And my son was when I began work, was about 22 months old, September 2000. And around the summer of 2001, or maybe springtime, this fourth year, there were a bunch of fourth year students. And my job then was that, and I treated them to a nice lunch along with the other friends I had, graduate school friends, that I'd be glad to get rid of them. And, because they would, take away the lab space, take away lab equipment, but the gentlemen were quite the favorites, but caused a lot of grief in their own way. And in my own affair to remember, my father-in-law's favorite movie, an affair to remember, and I sort of think that I'm glad I had these because mostly, as is the case with other women, you tend to meet women only in social circles or married men, and you never exchange the odd piece of input or our piece of Sally, sort of odd piece of Sally or that sort of thing, ever um, uh, with an unmarried gentleman. Yeah. So, anyways, I have prepared this technical talk, and it's all. And Erin Brockovich was quite the favorite, of course. She's not an engineer, but comes close. I mean, in the role, because she unearths this whole plot to cover up hazardous chemicals which have caused health problems in the residents of the neighborhood, and collects evidence. And the lawyer wins the case. She's a lawyer's secretary, and he wins the case. So he was a good character as well as a boyfriend. So I have a few pieces of dialogue for all the three of them, and I have kept Miss Erin Brockovich as special as she was in the movie. All right, so let me read my first portion, technical talk, as I said, technical observation, and it's all prepared. So I'll be reading it, and a technical topic for a script, for a script to come after, and the script is for Erin Brockovich by Gayatri B. Sitaram. So, point one, PFAS contamination. Numerous lawsuits are being filed against manufacturers of PFAS, per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, due to the contamination of water supplies. So, this comes off the internet, and I just looked up legal cases which have drawn attention from the public, which have resulted as negative attention from the public towards, or negative action from chemical companies, uh, either of these. So PFAS contamination refers to the presence of persistent and harmful, quote, forever chemicals, unquote, per and polyfluoroalkyl substances in the environment, and potentially in our food, water, and products, posing health risks. So here's a more detailed explanation follows. This is all information from the internet, but I'm going to get to the crux of the crew. I used to say crux, so sometimes old habits die hard. Crew of the problem. PFAs are a group of thousands of chemicals that resist grease, oil, water, and heat, making them useful in various products. Why are they a problem? PFAS don't break down easily in the environment and can persist for long periods, accumulating in the environment and potentially in the human body. Go scrolling down. How do we get exposed? Exposure to PFAS can occur through contaminated water, food, including fish, meat, and dairy, air, and this is all from the internet. These could be similar, PFAS, per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, could be similar in structure to chlorofluorocarbons or CFCs, which are banned by the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency in the USA, and National Pollutant Release Inventory in Canada. And this is my gut instinct. looking up a Michigan.government, Michigan State of Michigan website, and it's a project from the State of Michigan government. I saw that PFAs contain the chemical structural unit R, well, which is a functional group, and within brackets CF2, so chlorine and fluorine, carbon and fluorine, and followed by carbon and fluorine again, and two functional groups, different functional groups, with two adjacent fully fluorinated carbons. And of course, this is a description of the whole structural formula, where R prime, and R double prime represent any functional group or atom except hydrogen, chlorine, bromine, iodine. So no halogens or hydrogen, no other halogens. Fluorine is there, and with a few noted exceptions. This description also includes substances with RCF2. So you have an extra fluorine, a fluorine atom, and just R prime, and CF3, CF2, or R units. So they can be the same or different atoms, which is interesting. As I said in my first observation, first reading of the structural formula, that they are all different functional groups. They could be the same or different functional atoms or functional groups. Next point, in the case of CFCs, used in aerosols and refrigerants before they were banned, the compounds could become, and again I resorted to internet documented information. And CFCs are stable and inert in the lower atmosphere, but they can drift into the stratosphere where they are broken down by ultraviolet radiation. So you all know about this. The ozone layer is a region of the stratosphere that absorbs harmful UV radiation from the sun. So it's crucial that we have the ozone layer, of course. And this was what was an issue. When CFCs break down in the stratosphere, they release chlorine atoms or bromine atoms in the case of halons. And these chlorine and bromine atoms act as catalysts, meaning that they can destroy many ozone molecules before they themselves are removed from the stratosphere. So, which, of course, ozone depletion, one chlorine atom can destroy thousands of ozone molecules. This leads to a thinning of the ozone layer, allowing more harmful UV radiation to reach the Earth's surface. We have a whole, of course, since CFCs have been banned, we have had skincare products increase, and they all have UV protection against harmful UV rays. So consequences of ozone depletion, increased UV radiation can lead to increased rates of cancer, skin cancer, and damage to plants, cataracts, and damage to plants and marine ecosystems. So the Montreal Protocol, recognizing the threat posed by CFCs and other ozone depleting substances, the international community signed, and I even have an essay about this, signed the Montreal Protocol in 1987, which phased out the production and consumption of these substances. Other ozone depleting substances besides CFCs, other ozone depleting substances include halons, methyl bromide, and some HFCs. The Montreal Protocol's success, the Montreal Protocol is considered one of the most successful international environmental agreements, and it has led to a significant recovery of the ozone layer. CFCs as greenhouse gases, and this was, I think, my own observation because I wrote some equations, but I myself, since I don't have my whole collections of research papers, research ideas, technical essays, political essays, literary essays, or creative nonfiction on my computer, because my old computer is busted and this is a year old. I remember having written down equations. I spoke about this, etc., and it has not been attributed to me. CFCs as greenhouse gases. CFCs are also potent greenhouse gases, meaning they contribute to climate change. Substitute for CFCs. Well, this is not within the realm of what I want to discuss. There are substitute for CFCs, and you can see leading to the Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol, which addressed the phase down of hydrofluorocarbons. So this is all there. And then so more of this when they release ozone depleting substances and from the US EPA, etc. So I'll skip to my own deduction too. Ultraviolet radiation can be an effective catalyst for a wide range of chemical reactions. Deduction research leading to the connective link, CClF2 or chlorofluorocarbons, CFC12, dichlorofluoromethane, a common refrigerant, 2, CCl3F, CFC11 or CFC11, trichlorofluoromethane, methane, C2Cl4, Cl4F4, CFC 114, tetrafluoroethane. Would this be right? Tetrachloroethane C2H6. C2H6. I think this is C2 Cl4. So we have 10 atoms here, C2H6. I think there's some issue here. C2H6 should be, oh, there's the C2. So Cl2, I think again. Cl2, am I reading wrong? No, this is the Cl4F4. So we have 10 atoms. No, this is not right. C2H6. So Cl2. Cl3F3, it could be a possibility. This is, I guess, tetrafluoro, um, ethane, propane, for butane. Oh, this is, yes, tetrafluorobutane. More deduction research, PFAs, an internet research says, could be an internet website says could be because I connected could be in contaminated water and air from both of which environmentally present both from both of which and where they are present in the environment, this could lead to human consumption. And from the calculation of the partition coefficients for air and for water, it is justly a banned substance. But I urge both NPRI and EPA to get rid of the chlorine atoms from the PFAs, which via ultraviolet radiation present in the Earth's atmosphere could reduce ozone to oxygen, thus destroying the ozone layer. More of oxygen, but no ozone, and it's not good. Of course, we have gone through this already. There has been a period of overlap where it has been allowed to accumulate, accumulate in the accumulate in the Earth's atmosphere that and this could reduce ozone. This could reduce ozone to oxygen, thus destroying the ozone layer. I'm basically repeating what I said myself earlier. There has been a period of overlap where it has been allowed to accumulate in the Earth's atmosphere, and the result is a depleted ozone layer. So PFAs have to be hunted out. You have to find a way of combating the existing PFAs in the atmosphere, as we did with CFCs, and look through ways and means to get rid of what's present in the atmosphere. So they've become greenhouse gases. Destroy these as well. All right. So I have my own suggestions, but nobody acts on this. They have more conferences, and once in a while, although I adore all our leaders. It began with even H.W. Bush, although I'm not a Republican, but H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, followed by George W. Bush, and then Barack Obama, and even the infamous Donald Trump, and followed by Joe Biden. But once in a while, you wish more of science, engineering at the top of the ladder would be nice because you're reaching a sympathetic source who understands what you're trying to say. And that would help instead of, procrastinating on decisions. But I don't know. But who am I? I've not worked in years. But you could check my academic record, my work record. Anyways, so now that's done. So that's an issue. Now moving on to less controversial pastures, or a less aggressive. I mean, I'm not. I'm mostly passive aggressive. I say my line and then let go of, just for yeah, things to take their own course of action. So, but once in a while, you need to stress on what needs to be done. A script for Miss Brockovich, who is fighting the case with her lawyer employer Ed and her boyfriend, who still wants the number on her. Well, number of years, for she looked like she won a beauty contest just today despite her grown up children. She's trying to have this bit of research from Gayatri B. Sitaram, who has 3 degrees in chemical engineering and and coursework in related areas, and work experience and paid work experience in the same. Looked into to this bit of research from Gayatri B. Sitaram, looked into, and she's conservative in her dress, but still reveals some cleavage. The husband says, "Oh my, Erin Brockovich on the case. I still want the number on your cup size, for at times I seem to be needing the use of a baseball guard, despite the fact that I rarely get the chance to try my swing. What with work and romancing you? Do I note detect a note of uh, you know uh, rancor, not rancor? Does I detect a note of a little bit of an argumentative husband here? But while she's smoothing his ruffled feathers, she's smoothing his uh, 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 this his whole line of work and romancing you, because he would like to try his baseball swing, right? So Miss Brockovich, all business, because she's on a case. I ask of you to guess it this night when we are sharing a glass of wine. I promise no illegal contact, my dear boyfriend. The husband or boyfriend, well, you could try a sack when we are in the sack. No time like when there is no work. Dedicated to work, these husbands. The phone rings and Erin's employer is on the telephone. Ed is back. Ed, Erin Brockovich, I thought I would discuss the legalities with you and what appears to be prima facie evidence the court has a nasty habit of saying is not allowed in court. Erin, I should discuss other legalities with you. Ed, like equal pay for equal work. I bust my ass for you. Ed, my interrupt, Erin. A more attractive Fanny did not hit the court scene. But seriously speaking, give me the goods and you shall get a bonus. That's what Ed says. So that's my whole presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to submit this to a technical source as well, because there's absolutely 3 or 4 lines of points of deduction from me, and they're all original technical observations and thoughts. Signing off, Gayatri B. Sitaram.